Hello, Baba. Oh, hello. My babies. My babies. Oh, man, so loud. Okay. Bringing it in. Okay. All right, now let's log in here. Hello. I'm just trying to log in so I can keep. Hello. I'm trying to log in so I can keep track of the comments when they come through. Sometimes they come through too fast and I can't keep up. Here we go. All right. Okay, that should be good. How are you guys this week? Hello. Good day, mate. Hello, it's afternoon over there. Oh, that's right, it's evening for you guys, isn't it? It's about 8 o'clock at night or something. How was Mother's Day? Was it good? Did you have a good time? Oh, I'll put that over there. 7:30. Oh, perfect. On a Thursday. You guys are Thursday. It was great. Oh, how lovely. Oh, did you have a good day? As in it was a sunny day? What was the weather like? Was it good weather for you? We ate, yes. I know the feeling. You eat like it's the last day. Every time there's a gathering and everyone gets together, you know, like Christmas time, we eat like it's the last day we're going to eat. It's so funny. Oh, dear. Okay. Springtime. Yes. It's soon to be gone, though. The summer's just around the corner. We're only 2 weeks away from summer for you and winter for us. It's getting colder for us. Oh, how nice. Good for you. Sometimes we need that day off. You do. You need that time for yourself sometimes. It's very important. So, oh, I'm sure it gets rain there sometimes. It's not like, you know, I'm sure the desert gets rain as well. It must come at some point. Can't think. I think we had a nice day. It wasn't raining. It was just, I think it was a sunny day. I'm trying to remember now. It was just mild. I think it was about 20 degrees. It was a nice day. Yeah, I don't remember there being rain. It was good. It was a good day for us as well. Oh, the day off. Nice. Yeah, it's good to have that day. Now, This week, what's been coming through a lot and really strongly are the words self-love. Now, it kind of started with a conversation I had with someone last weekend, and it just hit me. Really lives up to its name. So, when I was speaking to this beautiful being about self-love, and it was about the self-love course, and this person was saying that they didn't have time for it at the time. And it was through that conversation that this awareness came through of self-love and what our expectations of self-love are, what we think self-love is. Because through that conversation with that person, I was taken back to before my first awakening and to what I used to think self-love was. And going back, looking at self-love, for me, it was about being selfish. Way back then, before my daughter was even born, we're talking more than 13 years now. I never got time for that. But, the truth of it is, okay, so first, I thought, oh, self-love, it means being selfish. It means being self-centered. It means that we disconnect from others because now we're just focusing on us, on what we want and what we desire. It all becomes about us. We are the center of the universe, so to speak. These are all the ideas that people have that self-love is. And when I remembered that, then I realized, oh, that's why people think that they don't have time for self-love, right? Because we have families. We have our kids, we have our partners, we have our parents. We don't have time to be thinking about what we want, what we desire, to be focusing on just us. If this is what we think self-love is. But to me, through the process of awakening, to me, self-love is everything. It's the answer to everything. To me, what I've been shown is that self-love means becoming aware of the self. It means that you're self-aware. 3 dogs. We got 2 dogs. And the 2 dogs, I forgot to mention the family members that always take care of me when I'm sick. My 2 dogs. I swear my female dog must have been a nurse in her past life, because she's on top of you the whole time, like monitoring everything that happens when you're not well. She's so beautiful. But self-love is to become self-aware. And it's like the opposite of all the things we said before. The being selfish is the opposite of that. The becoming self-centered, the opposite. Disconnecting from others, the opposite. So what happens with self-love? We become self-aware. And what does it mean to become self-aware? We become aware of the self. My pen is. What does that mean? That's how my pen is. I'll wait for the next comment. So, to become self-aware, that you become aware of the self, it's not this separate individual self having this human experience. That's not the self we are looking at. To become self-aware means that you become aware. Penelope. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, that's so cute. You call it Penny. Penelope. I see where the conversation's going. She's the one that looks after everyone when they're sick. That's yeah. They were probably nurses together with my dog. Yes, I remember now. I've seen the photos in, I think on the Facebook page. I remember there was one that said Penelope on there. Now it's coming back to me. So to be aware of the self is to be aware that you are spirit in human form. This is what it is to be aware of the self. You become aware of your soul that has the map to your life, to what it is that it wants to do here. You have a connection to that. That is what it is to be in self-love. It's to be in love with your soul, with your spirit, with your essence, if you like. Whatever it is that you want to call it. Higher self. Some people call it higher self. When I do my beautiful Reiki sessions, it's my higher self that comes in to do my sessions for me. So this was the first thing that was coming through this week of what self-love is and what it isn't, for those who are stuck in, well, I don't have time for self-love because I don't have time to be focusing on myself and just ignoring all the stuff that's around me, right? All my responsibilities. And self-love is not about that. You know, it's not saying that you have to drop all your responsibilities and go live on a mountaintop and abandon your life. That's not what self-love is. Self-love is loving the soul. It's being aware that you are a soul having a human experience. And when you step into that, everything shifts. Because what happens? The moment you realize that you are spirit having a human experience, the moment you realize you're aware that you are a soul having a human experience, you begin to understand that this is what's happening everywhere. Everyone is spirit having a human experience. Even our beautiful pets are spirit having an experience. You know? Everything is spirit. You begin to see spirit in everything. So everything becomes sacred. Everything you're looking at is divine perfection. And there's a deeper connectedness with everything because you see spirit in you and you see it in everything else. Whereas before self-love, you would have felt separate. You would have felt disconnected from all these other beings because they are separate from you. This is the human illusion. But becoming aware of the self, as in the soul, the higher self. We're talking about the self with a capital S here. Your soul, your higher self. Becoming aware of that, connecting to that, gives you a deeper connection to your life, to everything that's in it. You understand that everything that is in your life right now is there for a reason. It's meant to be there. And so there's a deeper sense of gratitude for what is in your life right now. So I know for me, this week I've had quite a profound experience. And in that experience, I honestly felt at the time that I was dying. That was it. That was the end for me. On this particular night, it was on Wednesday night, and I was going through something. What I got out of that experience was, first, I got to reconnect to the nothingness that I am. I got to reconnect with my essence, my pure essence, with nothing else in the way. And that in itself was the most beautiful experience. But all through that experience, as in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow. This is it. This is the end for me. And as I'm going through it, all I could think of when I gained consciousness each time, I'd be coming back and gaining consciousness, was of my daughter. That's all that kept coming back. My daughter, my daughter. I can't leave now. She needs me. And we tend to think that this life is about all these complicated things. In that time that I thought I was dying, I wasn't concerned with the books. I wasn't concerned with the courses. I wasn't concerned with anything. She was my only concern. Because I know that if anything happened to me, say Wednesday night, that was it, I passed away. My husband would move on. He would get another partner and he would keep going on with life. But my daughter's 13. And it's such a delicate age to have such a huge loss, to have something so, I guess traumatic, if you want to use that word, but life-changing. These are life-changing events, no matter when they happen. But I think for us, it's much easier to lose a parent. The older you get, you're kind of expecting it. You know, when you get into your 60s and your 70s, if your parents are still here and they're in their 90s, you're like, okay, any minute now, you know. But when your child is only 13, they're not going to be expecting that any day now one of my parents is going to be gone. They're expecting you're there, you know. And I just found that fascinating, that throughout that night that I thought was it, I wasn't coming back, she was the only thing I was thinking of. She was like my tether to this world. She was what kept me here, you know? And wow, it's just an experience. At the time, I thought, oh no, what have I done? I shouldn't have done this. Trying to experiment to have this experience. You hear so many people that go through doing experimenting with things to have certain experiences. And I thought, I've never done any of that, and this year I'm 55. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I don't want to leave this life and say I haven't tried something, that it seemed at the time completely harmless. But when I went into it and I realized the profound effect it was going to have, I thought, whoa, this might have been a mistake. If this is the end, it wasn't worth it. For me, it wasn't worth, I guess, it was worth the experience of being with my pure essence, that nothingness that has no form, that feeling, that weightlessness, that comes with being. But yeah, I thought I was ready to go. When it was my time, I was ready to go. And here I was in my head fighting, no, my daughter still needs me. I can't go now. So I was taught a lesson this week that maybe I'm not ready to go yet. Maybe I have things to do. So it was funny. The other thing that my beautiful team wanted to bring through this week with the whole topic of self-love is that so many people, I get so many questions, on spirit guides. And I have a feeling that so many people put these spirit guides up on pedestals, like they're above us, like they have all the information that we need, that we need them as our guides. And the beautiful information that my team brought through this week is to let everyone know that we are the same. And on Wednesday, I got to witness that. Yes, she was freaking out on that night as well because I couldn't respond. I was incapacitated. And it wasn't until the morning, that I woke up that she was relieved that, okay, we get another day. The other thing that came with that as well, that, I kept taking for granted that the next day is going to be there because I'm so busy, you see, with writing the next book, with creating the next course that they want me to create. I'm so busy and I'm having such a good time with it that I'm always expecting that next day is going to be there. I'm always expecting it. And the next day, the Thursday morning when I woke up, was the first time, I think, in my life that I woke up and I said, thank you for giving me another day. It was the first time I woke up grateful to actually have another day to live, So it kind of changed my perspective a little bit as to what is really important in my life right now and what's secondary, because all of these things, the beautiful books, the courses, all of that, others will come along and create. If it is my time and I go and this didn't get out there, the courses, they're barely out there at the moment. I haven't started doing the marketing for them yet. That all starts next week. So if that were the case and that all gets shut down and no one ever gets to see the beautiful courses, someone else will create them. I remember a long time ago reading in one of the Conversations with God books that if they send you the inspiration and you don't take action, that they will send the inspiration to someone else because they want that information out in the world. They want others to have it. And so they will try, they will give you, the nudge. Are you willing to do this? Do you, like when I was asked to publish the first book, I could have said no. And they would have gone to someone else. Okay, here's the information that we want you to share. And then when they write that and they get to the end of it, okay, will you publish it now? So we're not just it. It's all spirit. So if it doesn't come out through us, it will come out through someone else. Spirit will find the way. if that information is important, you know. Up until that point, I was always like, oh, people need this. They need to know this. This is life-changing, you know. And what if they don't get to it? You know, there was always this despair of, I need to get it out there quickly. I need to get it out there, you know, as soon as I get it out there, let people know. And less work time. Yes, I absolutely agree. More time to be and less time to do the work stuff that's really, you know, half the time the work that we do is not even really, what's it for in the end, you know, when you think about it. Sometimes my husband will walk me through, he works in a printing company, and he walks me through that he'll spend a whole day in the city putting up all this signage for an event. And then the next day they're sent in to pull all that signage down and put it in the bin. And I think that's so wasteful. You know, what was the point? But that's life here on earth at the moment. That's what we do. You know, we'll put up something for 5 minutes and then destroy it because we don't need it 10 seconds later. Related to that. Yes, that we spend too much time doing a job. And for most, I'd say at least 80% of the population aren't really doing work that they're passionate about. It's just because they have to pay the bills. Yeah. It's soul crushing is how I used to feel, you know, when I was working in the office in the city, and it was like I was done doing that. I, you know, already past the point of I've learned everything I need to learn here and there was nothing left. It gets to a point where it's like you're just repeating the same thing over and over, and it was soul crushing. It really is. Because you're not living your purpose, you know. We're all here. We have a purpose that we've been given. Our soul, it wanted to do something here. And we get caught up in, oh, we've got to work, we've got to pay these bills. And so many of us never get on that path, you know. Oh, but getting back to what my beautiful team was trying to bring through this week. The other beautiful message that they wanted you to know is that when you're looking at them like they are these higher, superior beings, they want you to know that you are the same. This was the message I was receiving all week long. You know, to stop looking at them as though they are much higher than us. This includes Mother Mary, it includes Jesus, it includes all these other beings. What they wanted us to know more than anything is that we are the same because we are all spirit. Energetically, we are made of the same as them. So your soul, your higher self, is the same essence. There is no difference. It has the same elements that are in the stars, that are in the planets, that are in the sun. The same elements. It's made of all the same. It's no different. We look at them like they're higher than us and they're better than us and they're more than us because we see ourselves as not worthy, that we are less than. And for us, many of us, this is conditioning. I know for me it was being in church for, 15 years. And listening to the, Catholic Church is very good at making you feel unworthy, that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, all of those things. But they're here to tell you you are the same, you are worthy. There's no difference between what they are and what you are, energetically, because it's all spirit. And when I know for me, and this is what, when I used to do the Reiki sessions, because I don't do them that often anymore now with all of this going on. When I used to do them quite frequently, I would see the team come in, and whoever went, like sometimes Archangel Raphael would go over to assist in the distance healing of whoever it was I was opening the session for. Sometimes it would be Jesus, sometimes it would be Mother Mary. But not once did I go into a session and not witness. So let's say it in the positive. Every single time I went in, I would witness these beautiful beings and their admiration for us and their adoration for us because they adore us. They have so much admiration for the work that we're doing here, for us being here, because this is one of the most difficult simulations to be in, being human. And they see us and they see everything we've been through and they just admire and they just adore us. Every single one. I haven't had one exception that they go in and go, oh, this guy again. Oh, was that in church? Ah, I wouldn't be surprised. I always remember the line being in church. You're just about to take, I think it's the Eucharist, it's called, that little round piece of unleavened bread or whatever it's called they give you when you're doing the Holy Communion. And it's been a while now, so be patient if I don't get the words right. I'm talking like 30 years at least. And they'd always say, Catholic, they'd always say, just before they give it to you, you would have to say, Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed. Every single time. And now, yeah, I look back and I think, a 10-year-old, how can a 10-year-old not be worthy? What can she be unworthy of? It's just a child, you know, with innocent thoughts still. How can they be unworthy? And yet we were made to mouth that off every single Sunday at the Holy Communion time, where they were going to give you that piece of, you know, that little round piece of bread. I'm not worthy to receive you. Every week. And I remember once I was in hospital and I'd gotten really ill and Jesus appeared. That's how it happened. I was in the hospital and I was really ill. I was with the gallbladder problems I was having. And then I remember I was lying there, it was a Sunday, and a priest showed up and he came to stand next to my bed to ask if I wanted the Holy Communion because it was Sunday. And at that time that he appeared, that's all right. If it's important, they'll leave a message. So, oh yes. So as the priest came in, as soon as he got to the side of my bed, Jesus appears at the end of my feet, right at the end of the bed. And he smiled at me. And I knew in that moment that he had sent him, you know. And it was in that moment he recited that very line. I had to say that in order for him to give me the Holy Communion. Anyway, so I said it. He gave me that and then had it. And then he did the little prayer thing. And then off he went, you know, this priest. But Jesus stayed with me and we stayed with that line. I am not worthy to receive you. And it was when Jesus was trying to show me how worthy I was, you know, to be here, that my soul chose to be here. That there's nothing I'm not worthy of in this life. You know, just being here, I'm already blessing those around me. And so it is for all of us here. You know, even those that think, oh, you know, even if you're living on your own, you still go out into the world. You still interact with other people, with other beings. You know, and what you say and what you do affects others. We're constantly blessing others just by being here, even if we think we're not, you know, that we're just wasted space or whatever it is you want to call yourself. You know, we're always blessing others, always, with our presence. So it was in that beautiful moment, you are more than worthy, I remember Jesus saying, and he smiled at me. And I knew in that moment that that's the gift that he wanted to give me, to know within myself that I've always been worthy, that we have always been worthy. There's not one of us that Jesus would turn away and say, no, you are not worthy of my love. I know this for sure. Because I've seen them in all their healings, and all they ever do is just look at people like they adore you so much. You know, they just love you so much. They have nothing else but compassion and love and admiration for, you know, all the work that we do here. Yeah. Because of my fault. I don't remember that prayer. But I guess different churches would teach different things as well. But I know for me, that's the unworthiness was what stuck, you know, through the years. The unworthiness and the being separate from God, I think, was the biggest one that they always tried to push. How far away God was, you know, that he was up on this throne, up in heaven, far, far away, too far for, you know, him to hear us. And yet we were still encouraged to pray, you know. So funny. But yeah, they were I think the two things I took away. How separate I was from God. Mm. And how unworthy I was of his love. And so, but they're, things that we came to experience in this lifetime. For a really long time, I was so angry at the church. So angry. Because I thought I was only little when I started at the church. I would have been about 5 years old. And how dare they put all that into my head or into the heads of all these children that go there? Children are innocent. They don't have any rotten thoughts yet. These are things that we learn as we're growing up. Maybe in your teenage years, but not as a little one, not as a 7 or 8 or 10-year-old. What bad thoughts could you possibly have at that age? So for a really long time, I was so angry at the church. Yes, I remember confession with all the prayers you had to do after that. I remember. And it took, after all the forgiveness I had to work through, all that took quite a few years. They were still on my list towards all of that. Can't remember the name of it. Oh, I'm not sure. The name of what? Can't remember the name of what. The prayer. Well, sometimes I was sent out with the Our Father and a couple of Hail Marys. Like when I did church and we did confession, that's what they would do. They'd send you out with, okay, say a couple of Our Father. It depends on the confession, how bad it was, I guess. That you would get an Our Father. So Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, all that sort of stuff. Then you do that prayer. Then you had to do the Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, that prayer. And they'd tell you how many times to say each one. That's what we got at church. I'm not sure about the other churches around the world, because I'm sure they've all got their own sort of system, even though they're all Catholic. Sinner's prayer. Yeah. But it took time. And then I realized with time that I needed to have that experience through the church. I needed to feel separate from God so that when I returned, I had that experience. That's what I came for. I came to feel separate from God because this is the only place you can do it. When I leave here, I return. I return home. There is no separation. Here, I'm not separate, but visually, like in my perception, my perspective of this life, I feel separate because I have this separate body, separate from everything else, So that's, I realized that I put that there. My soul put that there, that experience. I needed to have that feeling so separate from God. Like he was so far away. He would punish. Yeah, and then there were all the punishment stories in the Bible, right? So yes, they were trying to teach you to be terrified of God. It was true. And then there was the devil. So you were like, well, you didn't know who was worse, who you were more scared of, the God or the devil. Because the devil was pretty scary, and that he could take your soul. And somehow I knew, well, I don't want him to take my soul, But yes, I remember they were always trying to make you afraid of God. Yeah. Only so that you would do the right thing. This was the same theory with how parents were raising us. They would make you afraid of them so that you would behave, Had to run from both. That's it. There's a lot of running happening. And so it reminded me of my mum. I was terrified of my mum, and her punishments would be so that you would behave. You wouldn't do it again. Except half the time I didn't know what I'd done wrong. I just knew I was in trouble. That was the problem with getting in trouble at home. I didn't know what I did wrong. So it's like, how can I avoid doing it? How can I not get in trouble? That's it, And it was the same thing. If you fear them enough, you will behave. I think this was the idea at church. If you were afraid enough of God, you would do the right thing. You would follow the commandments. You would follow the church, and be good, so to speak, be a good Christian. So I think that was the idea behind it. But with time, I realized that I placed that there, that was meant to be a part of my path, this Catholic church, going to church every week, on Sundays, and then going to Catholic school and learning about the devil and the fear that created within me. All of that was part of my journey, so that when I came home, when I returned and realized that I'm spirit having a human experience, and that's all that's been happening, and that I've always been connected, I realized, I actually came here to have that experience of what does it feel like to be disconnected from God, to be separate. What does it feel like? Because outside of here, it doesn't exist. You can't have it. Outside of here, you are connected all the time. You are the wave in the ocean. You can't separate from the ocean. But here, in this beautiful simulation, it feels like we're separate. When you think about it, it's an absolute miracle that we can have this life and that we exist and that this is all happening. It's an absolute miracle. It's amazing. To me, it's when my beautiful spirit team was telling me that we're all the same. And then I look at everything, I'll be out in the back and there's this massive gum tree. And I put my hand on the gum tree. And I feel the energy coming off the tree. And then I think, I am the same. The spirit that's running through this tree is the same spirit that's running through me. And then I look at my dogs and I see the same. They look at you with those beautiful sparkly eyes and I love you so much, Mummy. I love you so much, Daddy. You are my world. And you see that beautiful spirit that sparkles in their eyes. And we are the same. The spirit that is in them is in us. It's the same. That's it. What kind of God is this? And then they go on about unconditional love. And you're like, yeah, but hang on a minute. Unconditional love means no conditions. And yet this God comes with like 1,000 conditions, right? So you're like, well, why are you telling me he's unconditional love? He really isn't, That's really funny. He's full of conditions, this God with unconditional love. So it's quite, it contradicts itself, But life is amazing. That we are here, is a blessing that we get to have each day. It does. That's the whole thing. He sounds more human than the rest of us. That he needs us to behave in a certain way and he needs us to do certain things to feel, satisfied with us. Yes, he has all these needs. It's so funny. Or a spirit needs nothing. Spirit is already receiving everything through us. It's so funny when you think about it. It's funny because through this week, I feel like there's been a slowing down of pace. I don't feel the need to rush anywhere anymore. If I get there a few minutes late, it's like, okay, I'll make up for it, at the end. Before it was like, if I don't get there 5 minutes early, my head's going to fall off or something. I hated being late to any of my jobs or to anything that I do. It's something that I don't know why. I just don't like being late. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. There's so many things we think are so important. They're so important. But when it comes down to it, they're not. The things that are important are so simple. Our relationships with our children. I guess. But you know what? I see him as entertainment. So at least he keeps you guys entertained. Oh, he's so funny. I find him so funny. And I didn't have as I'm sitting in that space on Wednesday, I didn't have a flashback of anything. I didn't flash back to any moments in my life. I didn't have any of that. I just had... Oh, come back then. We can hang out and have a barbecue occasionally. Come back. It's beautiful here. You should come back. This place is amazing. But don't tell everybody. Otherwise everyone will be flocking to Australia. It will be too crowded. But you guys should definitely come back. And we can put a shrimp on the barbie, as they say every time they talk about us on, you know, on Australia Day or whatever. Put another shrimp on the barbie. I don't know where they got that from. Because I don't think I've ever had a shrimp on the barbie. I still have to do that one. See, there's certain things I think to myself, I can't leave this life. I haven't, you know, experienced that yet. What is the shrimp on the barbie thing? I haven't done it yet, so I have to do that still. All these little simple things. Ah, it's so funny. Still a bit spaced out. I'm finding it hard to sort of come back, you know, to my normal life. What's it full of? Oh, was that alligators? What? It is alligators. Oh, that's a good idea. That's so they don't all come. I get it. So they don't all come. I get it. But you come to the spots where there's no alligators, or crocodiles, or whatever they are. That's funny stuff. So yes, the main messages that have been coming through this week is that being in self-love is not selfish. It's just being self-aware. They're two very different things. Being self-aware is being aware of your beautiful soul, or stepping back into that, you know, into that beautiful inner wisdom of who we really are, you know. And the second thing they wanted to bring forward this week is that we are the same. And I thought that was really, really important to bring through. That so many people seem to think these beautiful spirit guides are way above us, you know, like superior, I guess, superior beings. They may be looking at them in that way. But they don't think of us that way. They think of us as equal, was the word. I remember, I'm not sure if I put it in one of the videos for the next week to come. I was in this beautiful meditation. And in the meditation, we were in the center. And we were surrounded by angels in, you know, circles. So there was a circle of angels and then another circle of angels. And as far out as I could see was white angels with their beautiful wings. Circles around circles around circles, infinitely. Like I couldn't see the end of it. And I was in the center. And in this beautiful meditation, we were to ask these beings, who am I to you? And the word that came out, and I remember at the time, you know, of course the tears would start crying. You know, I started crying, was the word sister. They said to me, they whispered in my ear, sister. To them, I'm their sister. And to me, that felt like they were saying, I'm equal. You know, we are the same. We are the same spirit. We are the same energy. And that was really, really beautiful at the time. You know, I've had so many moments like that where they're trying to show us that we are worthy. They're trying to show us that we are the same. We are not less than. They are not better than us. We are the same. The same. Each one of us on a different path, having a different experience, but no path and no experience is more or less than another. They're just different. You know? Different souls gathering different information, different knowledge, different wisdom from this lifetime, you know? So that's what they wanted to bring through this week. I don't know, did you feel like a meditation of any kind today? And if so, what would it be for? I'm trying to think now. Or just call in a being and ask for whatever we want. I think that's always a good plan. You know? But it's up to you, because you're the ones that are here, so whatever you feel like doing. If you feel like going in and sitting with a beautiful being for a little bit. It is. It is the best ride. I know the Spirit does think so. It thinks it's amazing. That we can have these experiences is mind-blowing. That you can feel the things that you can feel. Physically and non-physically. You know, like the other feelings that you have inside. Like the anger and the frustration and jealousy and all of these things. Spirit's fascinated by all of it. You know, it finds all of it amazing. Not when you're in it. That's it. When you're in it, it's not so much fun. But we learn to just, yeah, it is. Because that's what the soul wanted. Even if we don't understand it, as the one going through it, it doesn't matter. We have to learn to trust that this is what we're here for. Learning to trust. And I'm still there, on that journey of trusting. I haven't completely let go. Because if I'd completely let go, I wouldn't have been on Wednesday fighting to stay with my daughter. I would have just gone with the experience. When you have the whole picture. It is. It's like a jigsaw puzzle and we're given piece by piece. But we can't see the picture yet. We're just living this little piece right now. And that's it. And that's what it's like. But we can still, for me, what's been coming through more and more, the more awakened you become, is that you can still be present. Yes. With what is showing up, you can still be present fully. As Spirit is, it's fully present in each moment. It's not caught up in what happened to you 10 years ago. That was done. Spirit was there then, now compared to before. Yes. But if we are present in every moment, because this is the only moment that exists, we don't know if the next moment will be there. And the moments that have passed, you can't change them. You can change how you look at them. That's what that whole book is about. You can change your past. But here it is about becoming self-aware. This book is about self-love. It's learning to see your past through the eyes of your soul, to see the gift of everything you've been through. To understand that everything you've been through was chosen by your soul. Not because it's good or bad or it's right or wrong, but because I want to know what that feels like. I want to know what that experience is like. And I can't do that if I don't have the experience. It's like flavors of ice cream. Until you taste that particular flavor of ice cream, how do you know if you like it? It may look amazing, you're looking at it in the little window of the, where the ice cream is held. You've got all the different flavors and you look at it. There might be the rainbow swirl and it looks amazing. I want to try that. And then they put it on the cone and you taste it and it's like, you know what? It's not that good. It doesn't taste that great. I prefer my chocolate. I prefer my vanilla, But then you go on to the next flavor. What does that flavor of ice cream taste like? I don't know until I taste it. And that's what all these experiences are like. You don't know until you've been through it. What it's like. So I know flavors of ice cream are kind of less tragic than a lot of the things that we go through in life. They're safer. It's safer, but it's an analogy. You had to know how it felt. They laugh at me at home because we watched that Dumb and Dumber movie when it first came out. And I remember seeing Jeff Bridges stick his tongue on something they were out in the snow and he stuck his tongue on something and his tongue got stuck. And I thought it was made up in my head. I'd never seen it before, right? And I thought, oh, yeah, right. And I literally went to the freezer and stuck my tongue in there and it got stuck. And I thought, oh! And it was really painful peeling my tongue back off the freezer. But until I went through that, I thought it was BS. You know, I thought, oh, you know, they just made that up for the movie. That's not real. And then I went through it and I was like, oh my God, it is real. That does happen. If you stick your tongue on something frozen, your tongue will get stuck to the frozen thing. I think I was, 25, 26 at the time. I was very young, you know, and very dumb, very naive, you know, and gullible, as my husband always calls me, gullible, you know, that I just believe anything. But the problem with that was that I didn't believe that that was real. I thought they'd made it up for the movie, and I wanted to prove a point. And then I was like, oh my God, my tongue's stuck in the freezer. And I had to wait until I had to peel it off. There was a bit of skin missing after the, you know, it heals itself. But that was one of those moments. It's like, oh, that was painful, you know. But now I know it's real, you know, because I've been through it and I know what it feels like when it gets stuck. But yeah, there's many things like that. You know, there's when we have as a woman, when you're giving childbirth, people can tell you all day long, it's going to hurt, it's going to be painful, it's going to be awful, but you don't know until you're there, until you're going through your labor pains and you're like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like. You know, it is that painful and then some, you know. Yes. So, yes, life is like that all the way through, you know. We're here for the experience, for how it feels. What does it feel like? All of it. And some of it, you know, the funny thing, after, when you're in it, like when I was in that moment of the childbirth and the labor pains and all of that coming up, it feels like you're never going to get through it. You're going to be in this pain forever, right? Because I was in there, well, easily more than 12 hours, you know, suffering from this pain. And eventually she had to come out cesarean because she just didn't want to come out. She's so zen, my daughter. She was like, nah, I'm chilling here. I'm going to stay in here forever. I don't need to go anywhere. we always tell her that story. She was 2 weeks late and then she was still wanting to stay in there. When I'm like, get out already, you know. It's time to get out. But the funny thing is that you go through that pain and the very next day even, that pain just doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't exist. It doesn't matter. You know, suddenly you have this beautiful new life in front of you, you know, that you brought into the world, that you created with another being, and you're so blown away by that concept that we made this. We created this. That nothing else matters. You know? It's just amazing when you think of it. There are so many things like that you go through so much pain. And when you get to the other side of it, the gift that you get in return is so much greater than the pain ever was. You know, I always remember beautiful Rikka in her course would always say that at the other side of pain is love. At the other side of the fear is love. At the other side of the anger is love waiting for you, because love is all there is. So, my beautiful beings, I think that's it for today. There's plenty here to sit with. From you are the same as these beautiful beings, and they wish for you to know that more than anything. You are more than worthy of their presence. They admire you. They love you. And that self-love is about being self-aware. It has nothing to do with being selfish. That's a misconception. You know? Self-love is about coming home. It's about remembering who we are and stepping into that. And when you do, you remember that it's all God, it's all spirit, it's all source. And we are connected to all of it. It's so beautiful. And in the nothingness, there is absolutely nothing. But the feelings of peace and love is like nothing you can describe with words. It's so beautiful. And that's what we are in our infinite eternal state, this nothingness. We have no shape, we have no form. We just are this beautiful energy that some call unconditional love. Doesn't have any conditions, it doesn't need any conditions. It just is. All right, my beautiful beings, I love you dearly. I'm still wiped out actually from the experience. So I'm going to go and lie down. But yeah, I've been feeling very tired ever since. And I think it's my body that needs rest, you know. After this go, 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 go with all the books and all the courses and everything. And I just finished the last course. I just finished putting it together. And it was like my body just went, ugh, we can relax now. So I feel a bit wiped out. But hopefully by next week, you know, I'll be back to normal. Energy levels will be back up again. And crazy stuff. But good stuff. You know, my friend in New Zealand was saying that I was meant to have that experience, you know. The whole feeling that I had that I was dying, she was saying it was my separate I, my ego. She called it the ego. She said it was the death of the ego. Yes. So that's what was dying. And the last little bit that I had of the ego that wouldn't let go was saying that my daughter needed me. That was the last little bit. You know, because each one of us has our own path. And if her path is meant to be that way, that I'm meant to go and she's meant to continue on without a mother, there's nothing I can do about that. You know, that is her path. I have to respect that. But at that time, that was the last little bit of ego I had left. The last little bit of separate I that didn't want to let go. But no, I don't want to leave my daughter yet. You know, I waited so long for her to come. I don't want to leave her yet. That was the one thing. But it was wonderful going through that, you know, to realize that nothing really matters. Nothing really matters except, you know, these beautiful beings that we have around us, our relationships. You know, at the end of it, when we get to the end of it, all you ever think about are the relationships. Your children, your parents, your partners. Our thoughts are always, every time I've been in a situation where I think, oh, this is my last night here on earth, because I've had about 3 now. The other 2 were in the hospital, that I thought, okay, this is my last night, I'm done. I was in so much pain, I was good to go. And I thought the end of the pain was never going to stop. You know, I just thought, oh, this is, you know, I can't do another day of this. And it was funny, once I said that, that was the last day of it. It was funny. But even then, in those last few days, all I would think about was my family, my partner, my daughter, my mother-in-law, the people that I had closest to me. You know, and that I wouldn't miss them. You know, at the time I thought I probably would. But, you know, that's all you think about. The rest, the house, the car, you don't think about any of those things because they're not important. Even my dogs, every time I'm in hospital, they're always at the front of my mind. I want to see them again. I want to be with them again. You know, these beautiful beings. That's all we think about. It's all we care about at the end of the day. You know, not anything else. So, my beautiful beings, treasure the ones you have with you. Let them know you love them. Tell them often. I tell my daughter all the time, my husband all the time, every day. I make an effort to let them know this is how I feel about them. I don't want them to ever doubt my love for them. So make sure your loved ones know that you love them. You know, because that's all we have. This love, the love that we've given, the love that we receive. I'm the only one. No, I can't leave my daughter. I don't know. I've had so many experiences with the other side that I think, you know, I love my human experience so much that I'm happy in both worlds. It doesn't bother me to be in one or the other, even though this one has pain, you know, especially when you're going through physical pain. Then it's like, oh. But they're both beautiful, you know. We just don't realize here how much we have that we can experience, you know. We're not tapping into that yet. We're still living in our limitations, our limited lives. We haven't expanded into, you know, infinite possibilities yet in our human experience. When we start doing that, it'll be like, oh, you know, everything's amazing. Because we can have both worlds all at once, you know. I do know that whenever you are with the spiritual beings, that there's just this sense of peace and love that's just, the energy that comes through is amazing, you know, amazing, like nothing you can imagine. Trying to think if there's anything that compares, but it can is the thing, you know, that energy, like that beautiful energy, when I started feeling it through the spiritual beings, no place like home. There is no place like home. You know, you can have that feeling within you all the time for your loved ones. That expansion, you know, that love, that unconditional love. We can have that all the time for the beings around us. We can be that unconditional love all the time. You know, we don't have to wait to die to experience it. We can be that. That beautiful love that I've witnessed, I've felt when I'm with these beautiful beings. I've felt it with my daughter. I have felt it with my husband. I have felt it with my mother-in-law. I have felt it with my dogs. It's when you're in that space where you just allow your heart to be completely open. There's no limitations. There's no fear. You are just completely open with a heart wide open for that being, whatever that is, whether it's a pet, whether it's family. And if you allow yourself that, then you will always know what it's like to be in heaven, because that's what it feels like. Your heart is wide open. And that love that comes through, that love is who you are. But many of us here, we're so afraid, you know, that if we are this love, that we're going to get hurt. So we don't allow ourselves to be this love in the world. And yet, your heart, that's all it wants to do. It just wants to love unconditionally. It wants to see the beauty in everything. It wants to see the beauty in your children. It wants to see the beauty in your partner. Your heart wants to see the beauty in your parents. In all of it. Your heart just wants to love. It doesn't want to do anything else. It is us. It's our fear that we're going to get hurt. Mostly because it's already happened before. We gave our heart and it was broken. But your heart can never really be broken. It's just a figure of speech. It's just an expression. It's not possible. The heart was made to love. That's all it wants to do. And in every moment we allow ourselves to love with our hearts wide open, with no limitations, with no conditions, just love. We are in heaven every single time we choose that. That is what heaven is. Unconditional love. All right, my beautiful beings. So, what is stopping you from loving with all your heart? Doesn't matter if it's not reciprocated. You know, when it came to my daughter, it doesn't bother me. She loves me, she doesn't love me. I love her anyway. I don't care. My husband, I love him anyway. I don't care. I don't need it to be reciprocated. I don't need any conditions. I just love them so much for what they have already given me in my life. You know, for them already being in it, for me is enough. I have received so much from these beautiful beings. So much. It would take me many lifetimes to repay what they've given me. You know? All right, my beautiful beings. I love you dearly, but I do need to go lie down. Thanks for being here today, you guys. And remember, heaven on earth, it does exist. We make it. It's up to us. Have a good week. I'll catch you with the newsletter on Monday. Bye, guys. I love you dearly. Thanks for being here. Bye.